Hello and welcome to Last Week in Finance. Today is May 16th of 2021. And right now, let's start to the numbers. The S&P 500 actually on a roller coaster week. It was a major sell-off since Monday and then Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a very big movement upwards at the end, down for the week 1.39%. Right now, the S&P 500 is at 4,173 points. The DXY, the US dollar index, also on a roller coaster, although close flat for the week. Right now, the DXY is at 90 points, a little bit, just a little bit over 90 points. Gold, bullish week, actually it's been bullish the past few weeks. 1.56% for the week. Right now, the ounce of gold is at $1,843. Silver, silver lagged a little bit, although end up in the green numbers for the week, 0.33%. Right now, the ounce of silver is at $27.33. Copper actually lagged down for the week, almost $5 per pound. Past week, right now it's at $4.66. The crude oil actually up, slightly up for the week, uh, despite the incident with the Colonial Pipeline. More on that later. Up over 1% right now. The barrel of crude oil is almost $66, 65.51 cents. Right now is the spot price for the crude oil. The 10-year Treasury bond, a lot of movement, went up almost 5% for the week. Right now, the yield of the 10-year Treasury bond is at 1.626. And of course, Bitcoin. The big story, one of the big stories of the week is Bitcoin almost 20% down after the Elon Musk tweeted. He tweeted that he won't be accepting Bitcoin. Tesla won't be accepting Bitcoin because due to the environmental protection, environmental impact of Bitcoin mining, according to Elon himself. So right now the Bitcoin price it's hovering around 47,000. On the news, the jobless claim report came again under half a million. Right now, the jobless claims for the week were 473,000 new jobless claims. Remember, still, still there is 70 over 17 million people on either federal or state jobless protection. Also, we saw a lot of sell-off of the week due to inflation expectations, and inflation finally arrived. The new report of the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, year over year, it's 4.2%, the highest since 1981. Of course, we have to take this with a grain of salt. Of course, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's higher inflation in the United States. Also, remember this year over year was is taken from the start of the pandemic crisis from 2020, and of course, at that moment it was down the CPI. So take it with a grain of salt. Don't do the fear mongering thing. Don't do the doom and gloom. Also, there's a lot of base effects. I know that the broad money supply has expanded from last year and of course also is affecting. But we have shortage, we have supply chain issues still. We are not 100% prior to the pandemic of that. So keep that in mind. Don't get crazy. Don't get fear. Don't get panic of that. Take it with a grain of salt again. Of course, one of the big news of the week, beginning of the week, was the cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline. Of course, this affected the supply chain of gasoline to the northeast, and of course that affected the price of oil in that region. The the gallon of oil went up. There was a big destruction of the selling in the gas stations of the regular gasoline for the average people. In a few places, in a few states, we see a lot of lines, big lines of people who wanted to get gasoline. Although some people were just one, fear that the supply chain will be interrupted. The time of the interruption will be longer, and they were hoarding gasoline. These things happen, and apparently it's going back to normal. Despite that, the price of crude oil wasn't affected very much during this week. However, plus 1% right now, something like that. So, and apparently the supply has been reestablished by the middle of the week. So, although don't fear mongering, please, people, stay calm. Now, what I'm really concerned is when we're gonna see the correction on the stock market that we should already seen. I thought this gonna happen this week. I mean, the beginning at least. It was just down 1.4% for the S&P and the Dow. Nasdaq still a little bit behind from the previous all-time high. The S&P recovered almost what it lost to the week during Thursday, and Friday. We're gonna see a major sell-off the rest of the week, or is this just a big major event? We don't know yet. So keep going with that. And also shifting to another issue that I covered recently is the real estate market. Of course, it keeps hot, but I see a contraction on quarter basis of the average real estate price. In the midst of the pandemic, a year ago, the second quarter of 2020, the average home price in the United States was 322,000 average price for a new house. And then for the last quarter of last year, we went over almost 20%, 352,000. The first quarter, the closing number of the first quarter of 2021 is at 3,047, $3,047. Okay. I'm sorry, it's $347,000. Sorry, I made. It's a decline of $11,000 from the last quarter of last year. That means the real estate market is cooling off finally. I don't know, because remember this real estate frenzy that we're seeing, it's mostly in places like South Florida, Texas, and important city suburbs of major cities. I mean, for instance, in Massachusetts, people are living Boston. In California, people are living Los Angeles and San Francisco. But these smaller cities around those big areas are, are getting crazy. They're getting white hot. So take it with a grain of salt. I think we're still on the white hot real estate market, but in some places, and of course, places like New York, like Los Angeles, In many other areas, the prices have been coming down, and that's averaging these prices that I'm seeing nationally. So take consider that. And of course, in Canada, and this is I love to talk also about Canada. Rural towns in Canada is are getting red hot because this is not only this real estate frenzy in Canada. It's not only in Toronto, Vancouver, and you name it. It's affecting also smaller places. For instance, Prince Edward County in Ontario, it's up 79% year over year. Also, uh, Collingwood and Ontario also 65% year over year up. And Nelson, British Columbia, 57% up for the week. For the year, year over year. This is all year over year. So these smaller places in Canada also are feeling the heat of an overheated real estate market. How this is gonna end? I'm not. I don't like to make predictions, but this is not, like I say all the time, it's not gonna end well for many people. And lastly, lumber prices went down. Last time I checked, from all-time high was $1,700 per, 1,000 board feet of lumber. Right now went down to almost $1,200 per board feet of lumber. So this is gonna keep going down, and other commodities, I expect a big correction of in the lumber prices. This is mostly because there's a lot of there's a lot of things affecting the price. Mostly is the supply chain from that converting timber into lumber has been the problem. And those supply chain issues are correcting themselves. I mean, of course, the people who work on that knows better than I am, and we're gonna see maybe some price stabilization in lumber, and that should decrease a little bit the price on the real estate properties. Okay, having said that, thank you for listening one more time. I hope you have very nice week. Take care. Bye bye.